Welcome back to another exciting podcast episode of Comply or Die. I'm your usual host, Kyle, and today we've got a special man with us, CEO and co-founder of DOTS. What does DOTS do? Aim is to revolutionize remote work expertise in asset management, logistics, and procurement. Bit more intro and insight about Alon, a serial entrepreneur, has always had quite a big focus in the startup area. Started DOTS initially as an internal venture, but this then became a full startup company, and was also called up to the forces on the 7th of October. So, Alon, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Hey, Kyle, thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the team that built the product, and specifically, this isn't anything new to you, but building up teams within a startup space where there's nothing in place, and now you're establishing and building a company that's in many different regions around the world. How does that look for you, and what's your sort of approach to having a really strong team and being able to provide that mentorship and just throughout that whole entrepreneurial journey?
I guess, first of all, I really like to work with people I worked with before. This is for me the most important part, trust teams that came to be a team player, as a professional. I think this is the three main thing, like trust, team play, and professionalism. I think when you know the people, you know what they can deliver, they will be able to bring their results. I personally hate micromanagement. I really hate, to go and check every day what everyone's doing. So giving the people the responsibility, and again, everything related to trust. When you trust someone, he will do it, and the worst case, he won't. So I hope he will learn the lesson. But giving people the responsibility, I think it makes them grow, learn, and I think to develop as a person. And I'm thinking, in my perspective, we in the company, maybe it's coming from me, but we really like to divide missions to many projects. Everything that we do, everyone in charge on his part, he can work with the developers, he can work with the designers by himself, running his own milestone and KPIs, and eventually we only tracking what we achieve in terms of the milestone, the KPIs, end of the month. We're trying to create a lot of trust in this area. So everyone working in this team, he is trying to drive the KPIs to where we want to be with this team and what each team is contributing. And I think it's just how we're building now the teams in DOTS. Every department, if it's logistics, development, product, everyone doing whatever they need to reach to the final goal. If we decide it's the number of companies that we want to bring end of the month, so X revenues that we want to bring end of the month, so X percentage of margin. This is what every team is trying to do, at least from my perspective about the team.
So maybe one more thing on DOTS, what the business model looked like at the start to sort of where it is now. How have you found that progression?
I think in the beginning, really try to understand the challenges in general, just understanding the market and why these big companies really can handle, I guess, procurement and how it's really related to IT, because I'm saying corporate IT and IT asset management. I guess we need to split it to two. Of course, now we understand more what we when we started, but I think if we split it to two, you have all the logistics or everything around procurement and delivering and doing onboarding for remote employees. And then you have all the IT asset management. Today, most of the people that deal with IT or are champions, so the IT managers, this is the gray area in each company. No one really knows who are the IT people. It's not the sexiest job in the world. And it's strange because they're doing a lot of the important work. And you can find a lot of IT asset management platform today in the market. I think so many of them. And you can go online and buy stuff, but I think these companies, especially the IT manager or the young generation of the IT manager, were trying to look for a much more efficient way to do it. And this is where we started to understand the actual problems that to procure in Philippines and do onboarding in Philippines. So doing something when you want to ship to Brazil, or if you're an Israeli company and you have now operation in US, but you don't really have an office, it's only a branch, and now you have living employees. So where do you stock all these computers? And how do you even, track all the asset management? Or are you want to just use a platform and use another two different platforms for procurement? So our initial approach, and getting much more focused right now is end-to-end solution. We give you everything in one place, from asset management, if you need one, to GLS or Global Logistics Service. What Global Dots started, when we came, they did only the logistics side, without the asset management, without any products that we were able to consolidate. And when you're trying to scale without this technological part, you very quickly lose transparency. You really very quickly lose the service, and then this is where the churn start to hit. And they really quickly understand that, and we will manage to consolidate existing clients. We're already bringing new clients. This is how it's evolved from the problems that we saw in the beginning to where it right now. Of course, we're still polishing the business model, and we see new problems and new champions. Now it can be some HR manager, and they don't have an AT manager in the companies. How do we approach these HR people, office managers? And we have all types of companies. But I guess the first thing or the first challenge was, how do you connect IT asset management to this logistics side? How to create end-to-end solution in a platform that, send you a very clear message of transparency and great service.
It makes sense. And I mean, a few common or recurring terms that were just in there around trust, common objectives, which makes sense. I mean, if you joining a big corporate somewhere, maybe it's a little bit different and you don't need as much innovation. But like you said, working with people that you've worked with previously, that you've got the trust with, you've got a team that's working towards a common objective. And I personally, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I think it manifests from one side to another. If there's that micromanagement, you're limiting growth and opportunity. And truthfully, in a startup culture, who has the time to micromanage as well? It's way too many things you try to juggle. Yeah. Product development and build a company. Can't be checking on what someone's doing every single step of the way. So we've now spoken about the problem, the team, building the solution. So let's think a little bit forward looking now. So what are some upcoming features or any little bits or insight you want to give listeners about what will be next from the IT asset management side?
We're supposed to launch, I guess, mid-June from the beta. Right now, we're running our beta version with some big clients, existing ones that were using Global Dots before and new ones. But I guess the two main features, first of all, as I said, we launching the official product mid-June. I think the biggest one will be the employee portal, that will come beginning of end of Q2, beginning of Q3. The employee portal will create a much more comprehensive system that will give a full experience for each company. Right now, one of the biggest challenges IT managers have, they are basically doing everything by themselves. So even if we create a lot of automation, they still need to build the kits, they still need to send it, they still need to do the onboarding by themselves. And one of the things that we are focusing on, of course, is the integration and the automation inside our system. If it's into HR system or some image management systems, the most important part is how to reduce the micro work from the IT manager or the HR manager. This is why I think the employee portal, it will give the responsibility to each employee in the company to understand what he has from his IT perspective. If he is a new employee, so you will get a quick message about it. So you will be onboarded in our system. You can choose his kit and, of course, manage the ticketing system inside. So both the DOTS dashboard and the employee portal will create much more unique experience in this aspect.
Really, really cool features. Very much looking forward to seeing them. And I'm sure all the listeners interested in the product or potentially even using it are equally as excited for these. Like you say, it's just there to solve real world solutions and make people's lives easier. So it very much has its place. And forward looking, we are on the Comply or Die podcast, of course, so it wouldn't be able to be this podcast without talking a little bit about compliance. Like you made mention of at the beginning, you've already completed your SOC 2 process and the initial steps. Maybe first question off the bat with that, why was it important for you to go through SOC 2 and to get that attestation at the end of it?
We're working with a very high-level companies, and for us, trust and credibility is one of the most important parts. As I said, we very aiming to a good service. And I think part of the service is the trust we create between us and the client. This is one of our main missions that we're trying to achieve now. And privacy and how do we store the data, what do we do with the data, how do we operate as the company, our policies. I think all of that is super important to companies that build in their procurement, their asset management, and also onboarding processes in DOTS. And hence trust and credibility, it just shows the commitment and how we maintaining, high level of security and privacy. I think this builds trust with clients and partners. And for us, it's very, very important. I think also competitive advantage. I think it's important. Not everyone willing to do this process. And I think without SkyTel, we didn't have a chance to do it by ourselves. And I think the fact that we did it with SkyTel, how we can track inside the dashboard, all the policies and things are open, what do we need to fix, all the penetration tests that we were supposed, to do, all of that just coming and creating a lot of trust, credibility. And I think also inside the company, not only towards the clients. Of course, there is some regulatory requirements and the risk mitigation and everything related to market expansions. I think it just opened more door to customers. And I think we don't want to be in this part when, we have data breaches and stuff. We really want to be protected as a side. We want to provide good service. Coming back again, trust and credibility, the most important part for us or the clients.
Absolutely. And I think you've got such a good holistic view of it already now. Like you said, the competitive advantage is maybe step one. You're not new to this game of startups. You need to be able to make that impression and dent in the market where you want to get your product up and going. Trust and credibility, I feel like, filters both for company and for prospects, that they trust in what you're doing and that you trust in your own internal processes, because it's very easy for someone to do something that works, but it's maybe not the right approach. And then the final step, and that's why I say I think you've got such a good mature view of it, is being prepared. Obviously, we live in such a modern technology day and age that there are unfortunately daily occurrences of security incidents and data breaches. And if you can't necessarily prevent that 100%, what is the best course of action you can take to minimize the realization of that? And if something were to happen, how do you mitigate it? Do you have the right process in place around it? So, I mean, with that forward-looking approach on it, do you find that now you've completed your SOC 2, in this case, that it makes ongoing processes easier? Does it tie you into boxes at all? Or is it just helping you be better prepared if something were to happen?
We have your platforms that we just, tracking everything inside. We will follow the rules, all the policies, everything that, that we sign on, that we see that everything is on track and, we're not missing anything. We have the monthly calls, that we're reviewing with SkyTel, everything that we do. And of course, the idea is that next year we will take more compliance, go to the next level if it's, more checks, more stuff. And again, it's all parallel to how we grow and, the resources we spend on that and the size of the clients that we bring and, and what they will be require as well. I don't know if you can bring now a bank or some big IT company, some cybersecurity company. Some of the stuff that we will need to take under consideration will be completely different for what we have right now. All in all, I think the fact that we're working with someone like SkyTel to track everything around just give us a lot of, peace of mind, and we are not alone. Even if we forget something, we have someone to remind us.
And I mean, Alon, I feel we've gone on a bit of a journey today with the listeners in terms of a company and truthfully how to do stuff really well, even at the very early age of a customer. So anyone that's listening that, is beginning their own startup or entrepreneurial journey, I think they can definitely take a page out of your book for how to do stuff the right way in a very quick time frame, make it manageable. I mean, you've made the process sound so easy. Just get a company, you get compliant, you get customers, and you build a great product. Seems like everyone could do it, but I know the reality of it isn't that at all, and that it comes with a ton of discipline, dedication, hard work, and so many other things. So maybe the final topic just to go through today is a little bit more around you as a person. What do you get what gives you that excitement and drive every morning that you want to build the product, and that this is really what gets you going and what your passion is about.
Maybe because I'm doing it for so long, maybe I'm a bit addicted. Some people will call it some sort of masochism, and it's not really so fun to do. I guess for me, it's one working with people, is talented, professional people. I think this is coming every morning. If you're working from home, or you're coming to the office, I think the fact that you're working with great individuals that having the same mission, we're always driving on 250 miles an hour, every day something happening, and every month something changes. I think the fact that everything is so dynamic and the ups are so high, I think you're just getting super addicted to that. Then again, I think creating a product, building a service that clients love to use, or and giving you great feedbacks, bringing references to other companies while working with great individuals, I think just making it very, very attractive. And you can't refuse when someone comes to you, the company would you like to join. It just, that the journey, without, if I eliminate the side effects of failure or some stuff that can happen in the end that not really as you plan, if you eliminate that, the journey is, I think, is remarkable. If you tried it once, you will do it again, and I guess you will do it again and again. You can't compare it to a regular 9-to-5 job.
Personally, I think it's an incredible journey. I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it's been a great privilege to be able to spend the last 30 minutes chatting to you this morning, getting inside your brain, seeing what's happening with DOTS. So thank you, Alon. I mean, I'm very grateful for your time, for making time for the podcast and for us this morning. And is there anything, just in wrapping up, that you want to add?
Yeah, I think to finish that, again, thanks for having me, Kyle. I think, DOTS, our main focus is to provide a great, we call it GLS, the Global Logistics Service. We created, automated system to make all this flow much easier for asset management, for on and offboarding, for delivery, warehousing, with a lot of integration and automations that saves you tons of money and time. And I think this is what it's all about. So yeah, dotstech.com, you can book a demo. Happy to speak with you, happy to show you around. We have 0 negative feedback so far. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. And Alon, final comments. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to watching and tracking DOTS' journey. And who knows, I imagine this won't be your last and there will be more to come. But for the time being, very excited to see where DOTS goes. So thank you very much for making the time.
Thanks, Kyle. Cheers. Bye-bye.